Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta,
Chapter 12, Text 38, Translation. Seeing Kamalakanta Vishwas unhappy, Advaita Acharya Prabhu told him, "You're greatly fortunate to have been punished by Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." Purport. This is an authoritative judgment of Sri Advaita Prabhu. He clearly advises that one should not be unhappy when reverses come upon him by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee should always be happy to receive the fortune awarded him by the Supreme Lord, which seems pleasant or unpleasant according to one's judgment. Text 39, translation. Formerly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always respected me as his senior, but I did not like such respect. Therefore, my mind being afflicted by unhappiness, I made a plan. Text 40, translation. Thus I expounded the Yoga Vasashita, which considers liberation of the ultimate goal of life. For this, the Lord became angry at me and treated me with apparent disrespect. Purport: there is a book of the name Yoga Vasishta that Mayavadis greatly favor because it is full of impersonal misunderstandings regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with no touch to Vaishnavas. Actually, all Vaishnavas should avoid such a book. But Advaita Acharya Prabhu, wanting punishment from the Lord, began to support the impersonal statements of the Yoga Vasishta. Thus Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became extremely angry at him and seemingly treated him disrespectfully. Text 41, translation. When chastened by Lord Chaitanya, I was very happy to receive a punishment similar to that awarded by Sri Mukunda. Sri Mukunda, a great friend and associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, used to visit many places where people were against the Vaishnava cult. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to know of this, he punished Mukunda, forbidding him to see him again. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was soft like a flower, he was also strict like a thunderbolt, and everyone was afraid to allow Mukunda to come again into the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mukunda, therefore, being very sorry, asked his friends whether he would one day be allowed to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the devotees brought this inquiry to Lord Chaitanya, the Lord replied, "Mukunda will get permission to see me after many millions of years." When they gave this information to Mukunda, he danced with jubilation. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that Mukunda was so patiently waiting to meet him after millions of years, he immediately asked him to return. There is a statement about it, this punishment of Mukunda in the Chaitanya Bhagavata, Madhya Khanda, 10th chapter. Text 42, translation. A similar punishment was awarded to Mother Sachidevi, who could be more fortunate than she to receive such punishment. Purport: Mother Sachidevi was similarly punished, as mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavata, Madhya Khanda, chapter 22. Mother Sachidevi, apparently showing her feminine nature, accused Advaita Prabhu of encouraging her son to become a sannyasi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, taking this accusation as an offense, asked Sachidevi to touch the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya to mitigate the offense she had supposedly committed. Text 43, translation. After pacifying Kamalakanta Vishwasa in this way, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu went to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 44, translation. Sri Advaita Acharya told Lord Chaitanya, "I cannot understand your transcendental pastimes. You have shown more favor to Kamalakanta than you generally show to me." Text 45, translation. The favor you have shown Kamalakanta is so great that even to me you have never shown such favor. What offense have I committed at your lotus feet so as not to be shown such favor? Purport. This is a reference to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's former punishments of Advaita Acharya. When Advaita Acharya Prabhu was reading Yoga Vasishta, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu beat him, but he never told him not to come into his presence. But Kamalakanda was punished with the order never to come into Lord's presence. Therefore, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu wanted to impress upon Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he had shown more favor to Kamalakanta Vishwasa because he had prohibited Kamalakanta from seeing him, whereas he had not done so to Advaita Acharya. Therefore, the favor shown to Kamalakanta Vishwasa was greater than shown to Advaita Acharya. Text 46, translation. Hearing this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu laughed with satisfaction and immediately called Kamalakanta Vishwasa. Text 47, translation. Advaita Acharya then said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Why have you called back this man and allowed him to see you? He has cheated me in two ways." Text 48, translation. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, his mind was satisfied. Only they could understand each other's minds. Text 49, translation. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Kamalakanta, "You are a Bauliya, one who does not know things as they are. Why do you act in this way? Why do you invade the privacy of Advaita Acharya and damage his religious principles?" Purport. Kamalakanta Vishwasa, out of his ignorance, asked the king of Jagannath Puri, Maharaja Pratapurudra, to liquidate the 303 rupee debt of Advaita Acharya, but at the same time, he established Advaita Acharya as an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is contradictory. An incarnation of the Supreme Godhead cannot be indebted to anyone in this material world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is never satisfied by such contradiction, which is technically called rasabhasa, or overlapping of one huma rasa with another. This is the same type of idea as the contradiction that Naranya is poverty-stricken, Daridra Narayana. Text 50, translation. Advaita Acharya, my spiritual master, should never accept charity from rich men or kings, because if spiritual master accepts money or grains from such materialists, his mind becomes polluted. Purport. It is very risky to accept money or food from materialistic persons, for such acceptance pollutes the mind of the charity's recipient. According to the Vedic system, one should give charity to sannyasis and brahmanas, because one who thus gives charity becomes free from sinful activities. Formerly, therefore, brahmanas would not accept charity from a person unless he were very pious. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this instruction for all spiritual masters. Materialistic persons who are not inclined to give up their sinful activities like illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating sometimes want to become our disciples. But unlike professional spiritual masters who accept disciples regardless of their condition, Vaishnavas do not accept such cheap disciples. One must at least agree to abide by the rules and regulations for a disciple before Vaishnavacharya can accept him. In fact, Vaishnava should not even accept charity or food from persons who do not follow the rules and regulations of the Vaishnava principles. Text 51, translation. When one's mind is polluted, it is very difficult to remember Krishna, and when remembrance of Lord Krishna is hampered, one's life is unproductive. Purport. A devotee should always be alert, keeping his mind in a sanguine state, so that he can always remember Lord Shri Krishna. The Shastras state, Smartyava Satatam Vishnu. In devotional life, one should always remember Lord Vishnu. Srila Sukadeva Goswami also advised Maharaja Prakrishan, Smartavyo Nitya Shah, in the second canto of first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sukadeva Goswami advised Prakrishan Maharaj, Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma, Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari, Swadvya Kirtityavyas, Kirtityavash Cha, Smart Bhavyash Chaha. O descendant of King Bharata, one who desires to be free from all the miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Super Soul, the controller and the servitor and the savior of all miseries. Bhagavad Gita 1.2.15. This is the summary of all activities of Vaishnava, and the same instruction is repeated here. Krishna Smrti Vinuhaya Nisbhata Jivana. Srila Rupa Goswami states in this Bhagavad Rasamrita Sindhu. Avyartha Kalavam, a Vaishnava must be very alert not to waste even a second of his valuable time. This is a symptom of a Vaishnava, but association with pounds and shillings men or Vishayis, materialists, who are simply interested in sense gratification, pollute one's mind and hampers such continuous remembrance of Lord Krishna. Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu therefore advised Asad Sanga Tyaga, a Vaishnava Achara. A Vaishnava should behave in such a way as to never associate with non-devotees or materialists. CC Madhya 2287. One can avoid such association simply by always remembering Krishna within his heart. Text 52 translation. Thus one becomes unpopular in the eyes of the people in general, for this damages his religiosity and fame. A Vaishnava, especially one who acts as a spiritual master, must not act in such a way. One should always be conscious of this fact. Text 53 translation. When Caitanya Mahaprabhu gave this instruction to Kamalakanta, all present considered it to be meant for everyone. Thus Advaita Acharya was greatly pleased. Text 54 translation. Only Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand the intentions of Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya appreciated the grave instructions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 55 translation. In this statement, there are many confidential considerations. I do not write of them all, fearing an unnecessary increase in the volume of the book. Text 56 translation. The fifth branch of Advaita Acharya was Sri Yadunanda Yadunandana Acharya, who had so many branches and sub-branches that it is impossible to write of them. Purport. Yanu Ananda Acharya was the official initiator, spiritual master of Raghunatha Dasa Goswami. In other words, when Raghunatha Dasa Goswami was a householder, Yadun Ananda Acharya initiated him at home. Later, Raghunatha Dasa Goswami took shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannatha Puri. Text 57 translation. Sri Yadun Ananda Acharya was a student of Vasudeva Datta, and he received all his mercy. Therefore, he could accept Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet from all angles of vision as the supreme shelter. Purport. The Gaura Ganodesha Dipika describes that Vasudeva Datta was formerly Madhuvrata, a singer in Vrindavana. Text 58 translation. Bhagavata Acharya, Vishnudasa Acharya, Chakrapani Acharya, and Ananta Acharya. We are the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th branches of Advaita Acharya. Purport. In his Anubhasya Shri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada says that Bhagavata Acharya was formerly among the followers of Advaita Acharya, but was later counted among the followers of Gadadhara Pandita, the 6th verse of Shakta Nirnayamta. A book written by Yadunanda Dasa states that Bhagavata Acharya compiled the famous book of the name Prema Tarangini. According to the Gaura Ganodesha Dipika 195, Bhagavata Acharya formerly lived in Vrindavana as Shweta Manjari. Vishnudasa Acharya was present during the Khetari Mahotsava. He went there with Achyuta Ananda, as stated in the Bhakti Rathanakara. 10th Taranga. Anandacharya was one of the 8 principal gopis. His former name was Sudevi. Although he was among Advaita Acharya's followers, He later became an important devotee of Gadadhara Goswami. Text 59, translation. Nandini Kamadeva, Caitanya Dasa, Durlabha Vishwasa, and Varnamali Dasa were the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th branches of Sri Advaita Acarya. Text 60, translation. Jagannatha Kara, Hridayananda Sena, and Bholanatha Dasa were the 15, 16, 17, and 18 branches of Advaita Acharya. Text 61, translation. Yadava Dasa, Vijaya Dasa, Janardana Dasa, Ananta Dasa, Kanu Pandita, and Narayana Dasa were the 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th branches of Advaita Acharya. Text 62, translation. Srivatsa Pandita, Haridasa Brahmachari, Purushotama Brahmachari, and Krishnadasa were 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th branches of Advaita Acharya. Text 63, translation. Purushotama Pandita, Raghunatha, Vanamali Kavichandra, and Vaidya Ananta were the 29th, 30th, 31st, and 32nd branches of Advaita Acharya. Text 64, translation. Lokanatha Pandita, Murari Pandita, Sri Harika Charana, and Madhava Pandita were the 33rd, 34th, 35th, and 36th branches of Advaita Acharya. Text 65, translation. Vijaya Pandita and Sharama Pandita were two important branches of Advaita Acharya. There are innumerable branches, but I am unable to mention them all. Purport. Srivasa Pandita was an incarnation of Narada Muni, and thus Srivasa, younger brother, Srirama Pandita, is accepted as incarnation of Parvata Muni, Narada Muni's most intimate friend. Text 66, translation. The Advaita Acharya branch received the water supplied by the original gardener, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, the sub-branches were nourished, and their fruits and flowers grew luxuriantly. Purport. The branches of Advaita Acharya nourished by the water yalu supplied by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are to be considered bona fide acharyas. As we have discussed herein before, the representatives of Advaita Acharya later divided in two groups, the bona fide branches of Acharya's disciple succession and the pretentious branches of Advaita Acharya. Those who followed the principle of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu flourished, whereas the others who are mentioned below in the 67th verse dried up. 67 translation. After the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, some of the branches, for unfortunate reasons, deviated from his path. Text 68 translation. Some branches did not accept the original trunk that vitalized and maintained the entire tree. When they thus became ungrateful, the original trunk was angry at them. Text 69 translation. Thus Lord Chaitanya did not sprinkle upon them the water of his mercy, and they gradually withered and died. Text 70 translation. A person without Krishna consciousness is no better than dry wood or dead body. He is understood to be dead while living, and after death he is punishable by Yamaraya. Purport. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 3rd chapter, 29th verse, Yamaraya, the superintendent of death, tells his assistants that what class of men they should bring before him. There he states, a person whose tongue never describes the qualities of the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose heart never throbs as he remembers Krishna and his lotus feet, and whose head never bows in the obeisances of the Supreme Lord, must be brought before me for punishment. In other words, non-devotees are brought before Yamaraya for punishment, and thus material nature awards them various types of bodies. After death, which is Dehantara, a change of body, non-devotees are brought before Yamaraya for justice. By the judgment of Yamaraya, material nature gives them bodies suitable for the reactions of their past activities. This is the process of Dehantara, or transmigration of the self from one body to another. Krishna conscious devotees, however, are not subject to be judged by Yamaraya. For devotees, there is an open road, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. After giving up the body, Tyaktva Diham, a devotee never again has to accept another material body. For in spiritual body, he goes back home, back to Godhead. The punishments of Yamaraya are meant for persons who are not Krishna conscious. Text 71, translation. Not only the misguided descendants of Advaita Acharya, but anyone who is against the cult of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu should be considered an atheist subject to be punished by Yamaraya. Text 72 translation. As he a learned scholar, great ascetic, a successful householder, or a famous sannyasi, one who is against the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is destined to suffer the punishment meted out by Yamaraya. Text 73 translation. The descendants of Advaita Acharya who accepted the path of Sri Achyutananda were all great devotees, purport. In this connection, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur in his Amta Pravaha Bhasya gives this short note. Sri Advaita Acharya is one of the important trunks of Bhakti Kalpataru, or desire tree of devotional service. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a gardener, poured water on the root of the Bhakti tree and thus nourished all its trunks and branches. But nevertheless, under the spell of Maya, the most portable unfortunate condition of renality, some of the branches, not accepting the gardener who poured the water on them, considered the trunk the only cause of the great Bhakti Kalpataru. In other words, the branches or descendants of Advaita Acharya who considered Advaita Acharya the original cause of the devotional kripa, and those who neglected or disobeyed the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deprived themselves of the effect of being watered and thus dried up and died. And this further to be understood that not only the misguided descendants of Advaita Acharya, but anyone who has no connection with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even if he is independently a great sannyasi, learned scholar or ascetic, is like a dead branch on a tree. The analysis of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur supporting the statements of Sri Krishnadasa Kaviraya Goswami depicts the position of the present so-called Hindu religion, which being predominantly conducted by Mayavada philosophy has become a hodgepodge institution of warriors concocting ideas. Mayavadis greatly fear the Krishna consciousness movement and accuse it of spoiling the Hindu religion because it accepts people from all parts of the world. And all religious sects, and scientifically engage them in the Daiva Varnashrama Dharma. As we have explained several times, however, we find no such word as Hindu in the Vedic literature. The word must probably come from Afghanistan, a predominantly Muslim country, and originally referred to a past in Afghanistan known as Hindu Kush, which is still a part of a trade route between India and various Muslim countries. The actual Vedic system of religion is called Varnashrama Dharma, as confirmed in Vishnu Purana. Varnashrama Acharavada, Purusena Paran Puman, Vishnu Aradhyati Pantha, Nanyat Tatasa Karanam. Vishnu Purana 3.8.9. The Vedic literature recommends that a human being follow the principle of Varnashrama Dharma. Accepting the process of Varnashrama Dharma will make a person's life successful because this will connect him with Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the goal of human life. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is meant for all humanity. Although human society has different sections or subdivisions, all human beings belong to one species, and therefore we accept that they all have the ability to understand their constitutional position in connection with Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms Jivera Swarupahaya, Krishnara Nityadasi. Every living entity is an eternal part, an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Every living entity who attains the human form of life can understand the importance of his position and thus become eligible to become a devotee of Lord Krishna. We take it for granted, therefore, that all humanity should be educated in Krishna consciousness. Indeed, in all parts of the world, in every country where we preach the Sankirtana movement, we find that people very easily accept the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without hesitation. The visible effect of this chanting is that the members of the Hare Krishna movement, regardless of their backgrounds, all give up the four principles of simple life and become to an elevated standard of devotion. Although posing as great scholars, ascetics, householders, and swamis, the so-called followers of the Hindu religions are all useless, dried-up branches of Vedic religion. They are impotent. They cannot do anything to spread the Vedic culture for the benefit of human society. In essence of the Vedic culture is the essence of the Vedic culture is a message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya instructed, Yeredaha Tarekaha Krishna Upadesha Amara Ajnaya Guru Hanatara El Desha. CC Madhya 7.128. One could simply instruct everyone he meets regarding the principles of Krishna Katha as expressed in Bhagavad Gita as it is, and Srimad Bhagavatam. One who has no interest in Krishna Katha or the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like dry, useless wood with no living force. The ISKCON branch, being directly worded by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is becoming undoubtedly successful, whereas the disconnected branches of the so-called Hindu religions that are enemies of ISKCON are drying up and dying. Text 74, translation. By the mercy of Advaita Acarya, the devotees who strictly follow the path of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu attain the shelter of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet without difficulty. Text 75, translation. It should be concluded, therefore, that the path of Achyutananda is the essence of spiritual life. Those who do not follow this path simply scattered. Text 76, translation. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances millions of times to Achyutananda's actual followers, whose life and soul was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 77, translation. Thus I have briefly described the three branches, Achyutananda, Krishna Mishra, and Gopala, of Sri Advaita Acharya descendants. Text 78, translation. There are multifarious branches and sub-branches of Advaita Acharya. It is very difficult to enumerate them fully. I have simply given a glimpse of the whole trunk and its branches and the sub-branches. Text 79, translation. After describing the branches and sub-branches of Advaita Acharya, I shall now attempt to describe some of the descendants of Sri Gadadhara Pandita, the most important among of the branches. Text 80 translation. The chief branches of Sri Gadadhara Pandita were Sri Durubhananda, Sridhara Brahmachari, Haridasa Brahmachari, and Raghunatha Bhagavata Acharya. Purport. Text 152 of the Kaura Desha Dipika describes Sri Dhruvananda Brahmachari as an incarnation of Lalita. And text 194 and 199 describe Sri Dhara Brahmachari as the gopi known as Chandra Latika. Text 81, translation. The fifth branch was Anantacharya, the sixth Kavidatta, the seventh Nayana Mishra, eighth Gangamanti, the ninth Mahmud Thakura, and the 10th Kanta Bharana. Purport. Text 197 and 207 of the Gaura Konadesha Dipika describe Kavidattas, the gopi named Kala Kanti. Text 196 and 207 describe Nana Mishra as the gopi named Nityamanjari. And text 196 and 205 describe Gangamanti as the gopi named Chandrika. Mamutakura, whose real name was Jagannatha Chakravarti, was the nephew of Nilambara Chakravarti, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's grandfather. In Bengal, my maternal uncle is called Mama. In East Bengal and Orissa, Mamu. Thus, Jagannatha Chakravarti was known as Mama or Mamu Takura. Mamu Takura's residence was in the district of Faridpur, in the village known as Magdoba. After the demise of Sri Gadadhara Pandita, Mamu Takura became the greatest in charge of the temple known as Tota Gopinatha. In Jagannath Puri, according to the opinion of some Vaishnavas, Mamutakura was formerly known as Sri Rupa Manjari. The followers of Mamutakura were Raghunatha Goswami, Ramachandra, Radha Vallabha, Krishna Jivana, Syama Sundara, Shantamani, Harinatha Navina Chandra, Matilala, Dayamai, and Kunjavit Hari. Kantabharana, whose original name was Sri Ananta Chataraya, was Gopi named Gopali in Krishna Lila. Text 82's translation. The 11th branch of Gadadhara Goswami was Bhugarbha Goswami, and the 12th was Bhagavata Dasa. Both of them went to Vrindavana and resided there for life. Purport. Bhugarbha Goswami, formerly known as Prema Manjari, was a great friend of Lokanatha Goswami, who constructed the temple of Gulananda, one of the 7 important temples of Vrindavana, namely those of Govinda, Gopinatha, Madana Mohana, Radharamana, Shyama Sundara, Radha Damodara, and Gokulananda, which are authorized institutions of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Text 83, translation. The 13th branch was Vapinatha Brahmachari, and the 14th was Vallabha Chaitanya Dasa. Both of these great personalities were always filled with love of Krishna. Purport. Sri Vaninatha Brahmachari is described in the 10th chapter, verse 114 of the Adi Lila. A disciple of Vallabha Chaitanya named Nalini Mohana Goswami established the temple of Madana Gopala in Navadvipa. Text 84, translation. The 15th branch was Srinath Chakravarti, the 16th Uddhava, the 17th Jitamitra, and the 18th Jagannatha Dasa. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura writes in his Anubhyayasa, the Shakha Nirnaya, verse 13, mentions Srinatha Chakravarti as a reservoir of all good qualities and an expert in the service of Lord Krishna. Similarly, verse 35 mentions Uddhava Dasa as being greatly qualified in distributing love of Godhead to everyone. The Gaura Desha Dipika mentions Jitamitra as the gopi named Shyama Manjari. Jitamitra wrote a book entitled Krishna Mayuriya. Jagannatha Dasa was a resident of Vikramapura near Datsa. His birthplace was a village known as Kasthakata or Kathadiya. His descendants now reside in villages known as Adiyala, Kamarapada, and Paikapada. He established a temple of Yashomadeva. The worshippers in his temples are the Goswamis or Adiyala. As one of the 64 Shaktis, he was formerly an assistant of Chitra Devi Gopini Tilakini. The following is a list of his descendants: Ramashima, Ramagopala, Ramachandra, Santana, Muktarama, Gopinatha, Loka, Harimohana Shiromani, Praklahaya, Madhava, and Lakshmikanta. The Shakha Nirnaya mentions that Jagannatha Dasa preached the Hare Krishna movement in the district of state of Tripura. Text 85, translation. The 19th branch was Sri Hari Acharya, the 20th Sadipuriya Gopala, the 21st Krishna Dasa Brahmachari, and the 22nd Pushpa Gopala. The Gaura Ganadesha Dipika mentions that Hari Acharya was formerly the gopi named Kalakshi. Sadipuriya Gopala is celebrated as the preacher of the Hare Krishna movement in Vikramapura in East Bengal, now Bangladesh. Krishna Dasa Brahmachari was formerly among the group of Shakis known as Asta Shakis. His name was Indulekha. Krishna Dasa Brahmachari lived in Vrindavana. There is a tomb in the Radha Damodara temple known as Krishna Dasa's tomb. Some say that this is the tomb of Krishna Dasa Brahmachari, and others say is that it is of Krishna Dasa Kaviraya Goswami. In either case, we offer our respect because both of them were experts in distributing love of Godhead to the fallen soul of this age. The Shaka Nirnaya mentions that Puspa Gopala was formerly known as Svarna Gramaka. Text 86, translation. The 23rd branch was Shri Harsa, the 24th Raghu Mishra, the 25th Lakshminatha Pandit, the 26th Bhangavati Chaitanya Dasa, and the 27th Raghunatha. Purport. Raghu Mishra is described in the Gaura Ganadesha Dipika as Kapura Manjari. Similarly, Lakshminatha Pandita is mentioned as Rasonmada, and Bhangavati Chaitanya Dasa is mentioned as Kali. The Shaka Nirnaya states that Bhangavati Chaitanya Dasa was always seen with eyes full of tears. He also had a branch of descendants. Their names were Mathura Prasada, Rukmina Kanta, Jivana Karsha, Yugala Kishora, Radhana Krishna, Radha Madhava, Usamami, Vaikunthananda, and Lala Mohana or Lamodara Shaha Shankhandini. Lamodana was a great merchant of the city of Dacha. The Gaura Ganodesha Dipika mentions that Raghun was formerly Varangada. Text 87 translation. The 28th branch was Amokha Pandita, the 29th Hasti Gopala, the 13th Chaitanya Vallabha, the 31st Yadu Ganguli, and the 32nd Mangala Vaishnava. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura writes in his Anukyasya, Sri Mangala Vaishnava was a resident of the village Titakana in the district of Murshidabad. His forefathers were Shaktas who worshipped the goddess Kiriteshwari. It is said that Mangala Vaishnava, formerly a staunch brahmachari, left home and later married the daughter of his disciple, Piranandha Adhikari, in the village of Mayanandala. The descendants of his family are known as the Thakuras of Kandada, which is a village in the district of Burdwanya Katwa. Scattered descendants of Mangala Vaishnava, 36 families together, still live there. Among the celebrated disciples of Mangala Thakura, Apranandha Adhikari, Purushottama Sakvarti of the village of Kananda or Nisimba Prasada Mitra, whose family members are well known Mridanga players. Sudha Krishna Mitra and Nikunja Vihari Mitra are both especially famous Mridanga players. In the family of Purushottama Chakravarti, there are famous persons like Kunja Vihari Chakravarti and Radhavabha Vallabha Chakravarti, who now live in the district of Birbhum. They professionally recite songs from Chaitanya Mangala. It is said that when Mangala Thakura was constructing a road from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, he found the deity Radhavallabha while digging a lake. At that time, he was living in the locality of Kandana, the village named Ranipura. The Shalagrama Shila, personally worshipped by Mangala Thakura, still exists in the village of Panandala. A temple has been constructed here for the worship of Vrindavana Chandra. Mangala Thakura and three sons, Radhika Prasada, Kopiramana, and Siddhya Maheshwara. The descendants of these three sons are still living. Text 88 translation. Shivananda Chakravarti, 33rd branch, who always lived in Vrindavana with firm conviction, is considered an important branch of Gadadhara Pandita. Purport. The Gaura Ganodesha Dipika mentions that Shivananda Chakravarti was formerly Lavanga Manjari. The Shakha Niryaya, written by Yadunanda Nadasa, also names other branches of Gadadhara Pandita as follows: Madhavacharya, Gopala Dasa, Hirdayan Ananda, Valabha Bhata. The Valabha Sampradaya of Pushtimarga Sampradaya is very famous. 5. Madhu Pandita, the famous devotee living near Gadadhara in the village known as Sanibonda Grama, about 2 miles east of the Gadadhara station, and constructed the temple of Gopinathi in Vrindavana. Achyutananda Chandra Shekhara Krishvara Pandita Damodara Bhagavanacharya Ananta Acharyavara Krishnadasa Paramanta Bhattacharya Bhavananda Goswami Chaitanya Dasa Lokanatha Bhatta, this devotee who lived in the village of Talakhadi in the district of Yashodhara, Jasore, and constructed the temple of Radha Vidona, was the spiritual master of Narottama Dasa Thakura and the great friend of Bhugarbha Goswami. Govindacharya, Akrura Thakura, Sanketacharya, Pratapiditya, Kamalakantacharya, Yadavacharya, and Narayana Padikari, a resident of Jagamata Puri. Text 89, translation. Thus I have briefly described the branches and sub-branches of Gadadhara Pandita. There are still many more that I have not mentioned here. Text 90, translation. All the followers of Gadadhara Pandita are considered great devotees because they have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as their life and soul. Text 91, translation. Simply by remembering the names of all these three branches and sub-branches of the three trunks, I have described Nityananda, Advaita, and Gadadhara. One attains freedom from the entanglement of material existence. Text 92, translation. Simply by remembering the names of all these Vaishnavas, one can attain the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indeed, simply by remembering their holy names, one achieves the fulfillment of all desires. Text 93, translation. Therefore, offering my obeisances at the lotus feet of them all, I shall describe the pastimes of the gardener Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in chronological order. Text 94, translation. The ocean of pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is immeasurable and unfathomable. Who can have the courage to measure all that great ocean? Text 95, translation. It is not possible to dip into a great ocean, but its sweet mellow fragrance attracts my mind. I therefore stand on the shore of that ocean to try to taste but a drop of it. Text 96, translation. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadasa, narrate Shri Chaitanya Caritamrta, following in their footsteps. Purport. That's the end of the Bhaktivedanta's purpose of Shri Chaitanya Caritamrta Adita Lila 12th chapter, describing the expansions of Advaita, Acarya, and Gadadhara Pandita. Chapter 13, the advent of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The 13th chapter describes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. The entire Ada Lila describes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's household life. And similarly, the Antya Lila describes his life in the sannyasa order. Within the Lord's Antya Lila, the first 6 years of his sannyasa life are called the Madhya Lila. During this time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu toured southern India, went to Vrindavana, returned from Vrindavana, and preached the Sankirtan movement. A learned Brahmana named Upendra Mishra, who resided in the district of Srihatha, was the father of Jagannatha Mishra, who came to Navadvipa to study under the direction of Nilambara Chakravarti and then settled after marrying Nilambara Chakravarti's daughter Sachidevi. Sri Sachidevi gave birth to 8 children, 8 daughters, who died one after another immediately after birth. After her 9th pregnancy, she gave birth to a son who was named Vishwarupa. Then in 1407 Shaka era, AD 1486, in the full moon evening in the month of Falguna, with the constellation of Simha Leo on the horizon, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as the son of Sri Sachidevi and Jagannatha Mishra. After hearing of the birth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, learned scholars and brahmanas bringing many gifts came to see the newborn baby. Nilambara Chakravarti, who was a great astrologer, immediately prepared the horoscope, and by astrological calculation, he saw that the child was a great personality. This chapter describes the symptoms of this great personality. Text 1 translation. I wish the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even one who is fallen can describe the pastimes of the Lord. Purport. To describe Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Lord Krishna, one needs supernatural power, which is the grace and mercy of the Lord. Without this grace and mercy, one cannot compose transcendental literature. By dint of the grace of the Lord, however, even one who is unfit for a literary career can describe wonderful transcendental topics. The description of Krishna is possible for one who is empowered. Krishna Shakti Vinatyatarabharava Thana. CC Antya 7.11. Unless endowed with the mercy of the Lord, one cannot preach the Lord's name, fame, qualities, form, entourage, and so on. It should be concluded, therefore, that the writing of Sri Caitanya Caritamrta by Krishnadasa Kaviraya Goswami manifested a specific mercy bestowed upon the author, although he thought of himself as the most fallen. We should not consider him fallen because he describes himself as such. Rather, anyone who is able to compose such transcendental literature is our esteemed master. Text 2 translation. All glories to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Advaita Chandra, all glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Text 3 translation. All glories to Gadadhara Prabhu, all glories to Srivasa Thakura, all glories to Mukunda Prabhu and Vasudeva Prabhu, all glories to Haridasa Thakura. Text 4 translation. All glories to Swarupa Damodara and Murari Gupta. All these brilliant moons have been together, dissipated the darkness of this material world. Text 5 translation. All glories to the moons who are devotees of the principal moon, Lord Chaitanya Chandra. The bright moonshine illuminates the entire universe. Purport. In this verse, we find that the moon described in Chandragana, which is plural in number. This indicates that there are many moons. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Nakshatranam aham shashi. Among the stars, I am the moon. All the stars are like the moon. Western astronomers consider the stars to be suns, but Vedic astronomers, following the Vedic scriptures, consider them moons. The sun has the ability to shine powerfully, and the moons reflect the sunshine and therefore look brilliant. In the Caitanya Caritamrta, Krishna is described to be like the sun. The Supreme Powerful is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna or Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his devotees are also bright and illuminating because they reflect the Supreme Sun. The Caitanya Charitamrta states, Krishna Surya Nasama Mayahaya Adha Kakara Kara Yaha Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya Ra Adhikara. Krishna is bright like the sun. As soon as the sun appears, there is no question of darkness or nescience. Similarly, the present verse also describes that by the illumination of all the moons, rising by the reflection of the Krishna sun, or by the grace of all devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the entire world will be illuminated despite the darkness of Kali Yuga. Only the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can dissipate the darkness of Kali Yuga, the ignorance of the population of this age. No one else can do so. We therefore wish that all the devotees of Krishna consciousness movement may reflect the Supreme Sun and thus dissipate the darkness in the entire world. Text 6 translation. Thus I have spoken the preface of the Caitanya Charitamrta. Now I shall describe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime in chronological order. Text 7 translation. First, let me give a synopsis of the Lord's pastimes. Then I shall describe them in detail. Text 8 translation. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, adventing himself in Navadvipa, was visible for 48 years, enjoying his pastimes. Text 9 translation. In the year 1407 of Shaka era, AD 1486, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and in the year of 1455 AD 1534, he disappeared from this world. Text 10 translation. For 24 years, Lord Chaitanya lived in Grihastha ashrama, household life, always engaging in the pastimes of Hare Krishna movement. Text 11 translation. After 24 years, he accepted the renounced order of life, sannyasa, and he resided for 24 years more at Jagannatha Puri. Text 12 translation. Of these last 24 years, he spent the first 6 continually touring India, sometimes in South India, sometimes in Bengal, sometimes in Vrindavana. Text 13 translation. For the remaining 18 years, he continuously stayed in Jagannatha Puri, chanting the nectarian hymn Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He inundated everyone there in a flood of love of Krishna. Text 14 translation. The pastimes of his household life are known as Adi Lila, or the original pastimes. His later pastimes are known as Madhya Lila or Antya Lila, or the middle and final pastimes. Text 15 translation. All the pastimes enacted by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Adi Lila were recorded in summary form by Murari Gupta. Text 16 translation. His later pastimes, the Madhya Lila and Antya Lila, were recorded in the form of notes by his secretary Svarupa Damodara Goswami and thus kept within the book. Text 7 translation. Text 17 in translation. By seeing and hearing the notes recorded by these two great personalities, a Vaishnava, a devotee of the Lord, can know these pastimes one after another. Text 18 translation. In his original pastimes, there are 4 divisions. Balya, Pauganda, Keshora, and Yavana, childhood, early boyhood, later boyhood, and youth. Text 19 translation. I offer my respectful obeisances on the full moon evening in the month of Phalguna, and on the auspicious time full of auspicious symptoms, when Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu adventing himself with the chanting of the holy name Hare Krishna. Text 20 translation. On the full moon evening on the month of Phalguna, when the Lord took birth, coincidentally was also lunar eclipse. Text 21 translation. In jubilation, everyone was chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hare Hare. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then appeared after first causing the appearance of the holy name. Text 22 translation. At his birth, in his childhood, and in his early and later boyhood, as well as in his youth, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, under different priests, induced people to chant the holy name of Hare, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Text 23 translation. In his childhood, when the Lord was crying, he would stop immediately upon hearing the holy names of Krishna and Hare. Text 24 translation. All the family ladies who came to see the child would chant the holy names Hari Hari as soon as the child would cry. Text 25 translation. When all these ladies saw this fun, they enjoyed laughing and called the Lord Gaurahari. From then on, Gaurahari became another of his names. Text 26 translation. His childhood lasted until the date of Hatak Khadi, the beginning of his education, and his age from the end of his childhood until he married is called Auganda. Text 27 translation. After his marriage, his youth began, and in his youth, he induced everyone to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra anywhere and everywhere. Text 28 translation. During his Pauganda age, he became a serious student and also taught disciples. In this way, he used to explain the holy name of Krishna everywhere. Text 29 translation. When teaching a course in grammar, Vyakarana, and explaining it with notes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his disciples about the glories of Lord Krishna. All expectations culminated in Krishna, and his disciples would understand them very easily. Thus, his influence was wonderful.
Translation. I will read it in translation.
Yeah, you can finish it. You need a purport? Okay, noted.
In the case of just
Srila Jiva Goswami compiled the grammar into two parts, named Lagu Hari Namartha Vyakarana and Brihad Hari Namartha Vyakarana. If someone studies these two texts in Vyakarana or grammar, he learns the grammatical rules of Sanskrit language and simultaneously learns how to become a great devotee of Lord Krishna. In the Chaitanya Bharata Madhyakhanda, first chapter, there is a statement about the method by which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught grammar. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the aphorisms of grammar to be eternal, like the holy name of Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Vedais Sabair Aham Eva Vidya. The purport of all revealed scriptures is understanding of Krishna. Therefore, if a person explains anything that is not Krishna, he simply wastes his time laboring hard without fulfilling the aim of his life. If one simply becomes a teacher or professor of education but does not understand Krishna, it is to be understood that he is among the lowest of mankind, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Naradhama Maya Partha Jana. If one does not know the essence of all revealed scriptures but still becomes a teacher, his teaching is like the disturbing braying of an ass.
Yeah. Text 30 translation. When Lord Chaitanya. Okay. Text 30 translation. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a student, he asked whomever he met to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In this way, he inundated the whole town of Navadvip with the chanting of Hare Krishna. Purport. The present Navadvipa Dhamma is but a part of the whole of Navadvipa. Navadvipa means 9 islands. These 9 islands, which occupy an area of land estimated at 32 square miles, are surrounded by different branches of the Ganges. In all 9 of those islands of the Navadvipa area, there are different places for cultivating devotional service. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23 that there are Navadvidha Bhakti, 9 different activities of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mananam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. There are different islands in the Navadvipa area for cultivation of these 9 varieties of devotional service. They are as follows. Antardvipa, Semantadvipa, Godrumadvipa, Madhyadvipa, Kuladvipa, Dritadvipa, Janudvipa, Modadroma Dvipa and Rudra Dvipa. According to the settlement map, Our ISKCON Navadvipa Center is situated on the Rudradvipa island. Below Rudradvipa, in Nandadvipa is Mayapur. There, Sri Jagannatha Mishra, the father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, used to reside. In all these different islands, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a young man, used to lead his Sankirtana party. He thus inundated the entire area with the waves of love of Krishna. Text 31 translation. Just prior to his youthful life, he began the Sankirtana movement. Day and night, he used to dance in ecstasy with his devotees. 32, text 32 translation. The Sankirtana movement went on from one part of the town to another as the Lord wandered everywhere performing Kirtana. In this way, he inundated the whole world by distributing love of God. Forward. One may raise the question how all three worlds became inundated with love of Krishna. Since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed Kirtana only in the Navadvipa area, the answer is that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. The entire cosmic manifestation results from the Lord's first setting it in motion. Similarly, since the Sankirtana movement was first set in motion 500 years ago by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire that it spread all over the universe, the Krishna consciousness movement, in continuity of that same motion, is now spreading all over the world, and in this way it will gradually spread all over the universe. With the spread of the Krishna consciousness movement, everyone will merge in an ocean of love of Krishna. Text 33 translation. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived in the Navadvipa area for 24 years and he induced every person to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and thus merge in love of Krishna. Text 34 translation. For his remaining 24 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after accepting the renounced order of life, stayed at Jagannath Puri with his devotees. Text 35 translation. For 6 of these 24 years in Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, he distributed love of Godhead by always chanting and dancing. Text 36 translation. Beginning from Cape Comorin and extending through Bengal to Vrindavana, during these 6 years, he toured all of India, chanting, dancing, and distributing love of Krishna. Text 37 translation. The activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his travels after he accepted sannyasa are his principal pastimes. His activities during his remaining 18 years are called the Antya Lila, or the final portion of his pastimes. Text 38 translation. For 6 of the 18 years, he continuously stayed in Jagannath Puri. He regularly performed Kirtana, inducing all the devotees to love Krishna simply by chanting and dancing. Text 39 translation. For the remaining 12 years, he stayed in Jagannath Puri. He taught everyone how to taste the transcendental mellows ecstasy of love of Krishna by tasting it himself. Purport. A person who is advanced in Krishna consciousness always feels separation from Krishna, but such a feeling of separation excels the feeling of meeting Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his last 12 years of existence within this world at Jagannath Puri, taught the people of the world how, with a feeling of separation, one can develop his dormant love of Krishna. Such feeling of separation or meeting with Krishna are different stages of love of Godhead. These feelings develop in time when a person seriously engages in devotional service. The highest stage is called Prema Bhakti, but this stage is attained by executing Sadhana Bhakti. One should not try to elevate himself artificially to the stage of Prema Bhakti without seriously following the regulative principles of Sadhana Bhakti. Prema Bhakti is the stage of relation, whereas Sadhana Bhakti is the stage of improving in devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught this cult of devotional service in full detail by practical application in his own life. It is said, therefore, Apani Achari Bhakti Shikhai Mo Sabhare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and in the role of a Krishna Bhakta, a devotee of Krishna, he instructed the entire world how one can execute devotional service and thus go back home, back to Godhead in due course of time. Text 40 translation. Day and night, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt separation from Krishna. Manifesting symptoms of this separation, he cried and talked very inconsistently, like a madman. Text 41 translation. As Srimati Radharani talked inconsistently when she met Uddhava, so also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished both day and night such ecstatic talk in the mood of Srimati Radharani. But in this connection, one should refer to Srimati Radharani's soliloquy after meeting Uddhava in Vrindavana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented a similar picture of such ecstatic imaginary talking, full of jealousy and madness, symptomizing neglect by Krishna. Srimati Radharani criticizing a bumblebee, talked just like a mad woman. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the last days of his pastimes, exhibited all the symptoms of such ecstasy. In this connection, one should refer to the fourth chapter of the Adi Lila verses 107 and 108. Text 42 translation. The Lord used to read the books of Vidyapati, Jayadeva, and Chandidasa, relishing their songs with his confidential associates like Sri Ramananda Raya and Swarupa Damodara Goswami. But Vidyapati was a famous composer of songs about the pastimes of Radha Krishna. He was an inhabitant of Mithila, born in a Brahmana family. It is calculated that he composed his songs during the reign of King Shivasimha and Queen Lachima Devi. In the beginning of the 14th century of the Shaka era, almost 100 years before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the 12th generation of Vidyapati's descendants is still living. Vidyapati's song about the pastimes of Lord Krishna expresses intense feelings of separation from Krishna, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished all those songs in his ecstasy of separation from Krishna. Jayadeva was born during the reign of Maharaja Lakshmana Sena of Bengal. In the 11th or 12th century of the Shaka era, his father was Bhojadeva and his mother was Vamadevi. For many years, he lived in Navadvipa, then the capital of Bengal. His birthplace was in the Birbhum district, in the village Kendubilwa. In the opinion of some authorities, however, he was born in Orissa and still others says that he was born in southern India. He passed the last days of his life in Jagannathapuri. One of his famous books in Gita Govinda, which is full of transcendental mellow feelings of separation from Krishna. The gopis felt separation from Krishna before the Rasa dance, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Gita Govinda expresses such feelings. There are many commentaries on the Gita Govinda by many Vaishnavas. Chandidasa was born in the village of Nanura, which is also in the Bibrum district of Bengal. He was born of Brahmana family, and it is said that he also took birth in the beginning of the 14th century Shakabda era. It has been suggested that Chandidasa and Vidyapati were great friends because the writing of both expressed the transcendental feelings of separation profusely. The feelings of ecstasy described by Chandidasa and Vidyapati were actually exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He relished all those feelings in the role of Srimati Radharani and his appropriate associates for this purpose for Sri Ramananda Raya and Sri Swarupa Damodara Goswami. These intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu helped the Lord very much in the pastimes in which he felt like Radharani. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura comments in this connection that such feelings of separation as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed from the books of Vidyapati, Chandidasa and Jayadeva are especially reserved for persons like Sri Ramananda Raya and Swarupa Damodara, who were Paramahamsas, men of the topmost perfection. Because of their advanced spiritual consciousness, such topics are not to be discussed by ordinary persons imitating the activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For critical students of mundane poetry and literary men without God consciousness who are after bodily sense gratification, there is no need to read such a high standard of transcendental literature. Persons who are after sense gratification should not try to imitate Raganuga devotional service. The songs of Chandidasa, Vidyapati, and Jayadeva describe the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mundane reviewers of these songs simply help people in general become debauchees, and this leads only to social scandals and atheism in the world. One should not misunderstand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be the activities of a mundane young boy and girl. The mundane sexual activities of the young boys and girls are most abominable. Therefore, those who are in the bodily consciousness and who desire sense gratification are forbidden to indulge in the discussion of the transcendental pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. Text 43 translation. In separation from Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished all these extravagant activities and thus he fulfilled his own desires. But in the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrta, it is said that Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to taste the feelings Radharani felt upon seeing Krishna. Krishna himself could not understand the ecstatic feelings of Radharani towards him, and therefore he desired to accept the role of Radharani and thereby taste these feelings. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna with the feelings of Radharani. In other words, he is a combination of Radha and Krishna. It is therefore said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. By worshipping Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu alone, one can relish the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna together. One should therefore try to understand Radha Krishna not directly but through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and through his devotees. Srila Narottama Dasa Thakura therefore says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibik Akuti, Kabe Hame Bujaba se Yugala Piriti. When shall I develop a mentality of service towards Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, and the other devotees of Lord Chaitanya, and thus become eligible to understand the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna? Text 44 translation. The pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are unlimited. How much can a small living entity elaborate about those transcendental pastimes? Text 45 translation. If Sheshanaga Ananta personally were to make the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya into sutras, even with his thousands of mouths, there is no possibility that he could find their limit. Text 46 translation. Devotees like Sri Swarupa Damodara and Murari Gupta have recorded all the principal pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in the form of notes after deliberate consideration. Text 47 translation. The notes kept by Sri Swarupa Damodara and Murari Gupta are the basis of this book. Following those notes, I write of all the pastimes of the Lord. The notes have been described elaborately by Vrindavana Dasa Thakura. Text 48 translation. Sri Vrindavana Dasa Thakura, the authorized writer of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is as good as Srila Vyasadeva. He described the pastimes in such a way as to make them sweeter and sweeter. Text 49 translation. Being afraid of his books becoming too voluminous, he left some places without vivid descriptions. I shall try to fill those places as far as possible. Text 50 translation. The transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya have actually been relished by Srila Vrindavana Dasa Thakura. I am simply trying to chew the remnants of food left by him. Yeah. Text 51 translation. My dear devotees of Lord Chaitanya, let me now write a synopsis of the Adi Lila. I write of these pastimes in brief because it is not possible to describe them in full. Text 52 translation. To fulfill a particular desire within his mind, Lord Krishna, Rajendra Kumara, decided to descend to this planet after mature contemplation. Text 53 translation. Lord Krishna therefore first allowed his family of the superiors to descend to the earth. I shall try to describe them in brief because it is not possible to describe them fully. Text 54-55 translation. Lord Sri Krishna, therefore, before appearing as Lord Chaitanya, requested these devotees to preside him. Preceding. Sri Sachi Devi Jagannatha Mishra, Madhavendra Puri, Keshava Bharati, Ishwara Puri, Advaita Acarya, Srivasa Pandita, Acarya Ratna, Vidyanidhi, and Thakura Haridasa. Text 56 translation. There was also Sri Upendra Mishra, a resident of the district of Sri Hatta. He was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu, a learned scholar, a rich man, and a reservoir of all good qualities. Purport. Upendra Mishra is described in the Gaura Ganodesha Deepika 35 as the Gopala named Parjanya. The same personality who was formerly the grandfather of Lord Krishna appeared as Upendra Mishra at Sri Hatta and begot seven sons. He was a resident of Dhaka, Dakshina Grama in the district of Sri Hatta. There are still many residents of that part of the country who would introduce themselves as belonging to the Mishra family of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 5758 translation. Upendra Mishra had seven sons who were all saintly and most influential. Kamsari, Paramananda, Padmanabha, Sarveshwara, Jagannatha, Janardana, and Trilokyanatha. Jagannatha Mishra, the fifth son, decided to reside on the bank of the Ganges at Nadia. Text 59 translation. Jagannatha Mishra was designated as Purandhara, exactly like Nanda Maharaja and Vasudeva. He was an ocean of all good qualities. Text 60 translation. His wife Srimati Sachi Devi was a chaste woman highly devoted to her husband. Sachi Devi's father's name was Neelambara, and his surname was Chakravarti. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura writes in his Anubhashya in the Gaura Ganodesha Deepika 104, it is mentioned that Neelambara Chakravarti was formerly Garga Muni. Some of the family descendants of Neelambara Chakravarti still live in the village of the name Magdobha in the district of Faridpur in Bangladesh. His nephew was Jagannatha Chakravarti, also known as Mamu Thakura, who became a disciple of Pandita Goswami and stayed at Jagannatha Puri as a priest of Tota Gopinatha. Neelambara Chakravarti lived at Navadvipa in the neighborhood of Belapuria in a neighborhood of Belapuria. This fact is mentioned in the book of Prema Vilasa because he lived near the house of the Qazi. The Qazi was also considered one of the maternal uncles of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Qazi used to address Neelambara Chakravarti as Kaka or uncle. One cannot separate the residence of the Qazi from Vamanapukura because the tomb of the Qazi is still existing there. Formerly, the place was known as Belapukuria and now it is called Vamanapukura. This has been ascertained by archaeological evidence. Text 61 translation. In Radhadesha, the part of Bengal where the Ganges is not visible, Nityananda Prabhu, Ganga Dasa Pandita, Murari Gupta, and Mukunda took birth. Purport. Here, Radhadesha refers to the village of the name Ekachakra in the district of Birbhum, next to Bardwan. After the Bardwan railway station, there is another branch line which is called the loop line of the Eastern Railway, and there is a railway station of the name Mallarpura. 8 miles east of this railway station, Ekachakra village is still situated. Ekachakra village extends north and south for an area of about 8 miles. Other villages, namely Veerachandrapura and Veerabhadrapura, are situated within the area of the village of Ekachakra. In honor of the holy name of Veerabhadra Goswami, these places are renowned as Veerachandrapura and Veerabhadrapura. In the Bengali year 1331 AD 1924, a thunderbolt struck the temple of Ekachakra Grama. Therefore, the temple is now in a broken state. Before this, there were no such accidents in that quarter. Within the temple, there is a deity of Sri Krishna established by Sri Nityananda Prabhu. The name of the deity is Bankima Raya or Banka Raya. On Bankima Raya's right side is a deity of Jahnava, and on his left side is Srimati Radharani. The priests of the temple describe that Lord Nityananda Prabhu entered within the body of Bankima Raya and that the deity of Janava Mata was therefore later placed on the right side of Bankima Raya. Afterwards, many other deities were installed within the temple. On another throne, within the temple are deities of Muralidhara and Radha Madhava. On another throne are deities of Mano Mohana, Vrindavana Chandra, and Gaura Nitai. But Bankima Raya is the deity originally installed by Nityananda Prabhu. On the eastern side of the temple is a ghata known as Kandi on the bank of a river called the Yamuna, and it is said that the deity of Bankimaraya was floating in the water, and Lord Nityananda Prabhu picked him up and then installed him in the temple. Thereafter, in a place known as Bhaddapura in the village of Veerachandrapura, about half a mile west in a place underneath a neem tree, Srimati Radharani was found. For this reason, the Radharani of Bankima Raya was known as Bhaddapurera. Thakurani, the mysteries of Bhaddapura, on another throne on the right side of Bankima Raya, is a deity of Yoga Maya. Now, the temple and the temple corridor rest on a high plinth and on a constant concrete structure in front of the temple is a Kirtana hall. It is also said on the northern side of the temple there, there was a deity of Lord Shiva named Bandishwara and the father of Nityananda Prabhu, Pandita, used to worship that deity. At present, however, the Bandishwara deity is missing, and in his place, a Jagannatha Swami deity has been installed. Lord Nityananda Prabhu did not factually construct any temple. The temple was constructed at the time of Veerabhadra Prabhu. In the Bengali year 1298 AD 1891, a brahmachari of the name Shivananda Swami repaired the temple, for it had become dilapidated. In this temple, there is an arrangement to offer food to the deity on the basis of 17 seeds, about 34 pounds of rice and necessary vegetables. The present priestly order of the temple belongs to the family of Gopijana Vallabhananda, one of the branches of Nityananda Prabhu. There is a land settlement in the name of the temple, and income from this land finances the expenditures for the temple. There are three parties of priestly Goswamis who take charge of the temple management, one after another. A few steps from the temple is a place known as Vishramatala, where it is said that the Nityananda Prabhu in his childhood used to enjoy sporting with his boyfriends by enacting the Rasa Lila and various other pastimes of Vrindavana. Near the temple is a place named uh, Amalitala, Imiletala, which is so named because of a big tamarind tree there. According to a party named the Nidari Sampradaya, Veerabhadra Prabhu, with the assistance of 1200 Nedas, Buddhist monks, dug a great lake of the name Shvetaganga. Outside of the temple are tombs of the Goswamis, and there is a small river known as the Maudeshwara, which is called the water of Yamuna. Within half a mile from this small river is the birthplace of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. It appears that there was a big Kirtana hall in front of the temple, but later it became dilapidated. It is now covered by banyan trees. Later on, a temple was constructed within which Gaura Nityananda deities are existing. The temple was constructed by the late Prasanna Kumara Kara, Karafarma. A tablet was installed in his memory in the Bengali year 1323 AD 1916 in the month of Vaishakha, April May. The place where Nityananda Prabhu appeared is called Garbhavasa. There is an allotment of about 43 Bighas, 14 acres of land to continue the worship in a temple there. The Maharaja of Dinajapura donated 20 Bighas of land, about 6.5 acres, in this connection. It is said that near the place known as Garbhavasa, Hadai Pandita conducted a primary school. The priests of this place listed in a gynecological table where genealogical table were as follows: Raghava Chandra, Jagadananda Dasa, Krishna Dasa, Nityananda Dasa, Rama Dasa, Brajamohana Dasa, Kanai Dasa, Gaura Dasa, Shivananda Dasa, Haridasa Krishna Dasa belonged to the Chidiya Gunja at Vrindavana. The date of his disappearance is Krishna Janmashtami. Chidiya Kunja is a place now managed by the Goswamis of Sringara Gatha in Vrindavana. They are also known as belonging to the Nityananda family, most probably on the basis of their relationship with Krishna Rasa. Near Gabravasa is a place called Bakula Tala, where Sri Nityananda Prabhu and his boyfriends used to take part in sporting activities known as Jala Japeta. There is a Bakula tree there that is wonderful because all its branches and sub branches look like the hoods of serpents. It has been suggested that by the desire of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Anantadeva manifested himself in that way. The tree is very old. It is said that formerly it had two trunks, but later on, when the playmates of Nityananda Prabhu felt inconveniences in jumping from the branches of one trunk to those of the other, Nityananda Prabhu, by his mercy, merged the two trunks into one. Another place nearby is named Hantugada. It is said that the Lord Nityananda Prabhu brought all the holy places there. Therefore, the people in the surrounding villages go there instead of the Ganges to take bath. It is named Hantugada because Srila Nityananda Prabhu used to perform the Dadi Chida festival of distributing chipped rice with yogurt prasadam there, and he took the prasadam kneeling down. A sanctified lake in this place is always full of water throughout the year. A great fair is held there during Gostashtami. And there is another big fair on the birthday of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. In the Gano, Ganodesha Deepika 58 to 63, it is described that Halayada, Baladeva, Vishwarupa, and Shankarshana appeared as Nityananda Avaduta. Text 62 translation. Lord Krishna, Rajendra Kumara first caused countless devotees to appear, and at last he appeared himself. Text 63 translation. Before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees of Navadvipa used to gather in the house of Advaita Acharya. Text 64 translation. In these meetings of the Vaishnavas, Advaita Acharya used to recite the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, decrying the path of philosophical speculation and fruitive activity and establishing the super excellence of devotional service. Text 65. In all the revealed scriptures of Vedic culture, devotional service to the Lord Krishna is explained throughout. Therefore, the devotees of Lord Krishna do not recognize the processes of philosophical speculation, mystic yoga, unnecessary austerity, and so-called religious rituals. They do not accept any processes but devotional service. But our Krishna consciousness movement follows this principle. We do not recognize any method for spiritual realization other than Krishna consciousness, devotional service. Sometimes we are criticized by groups following jnana, yoga, tapasya, or dharma, but fortunately we are unable to make any compromises with them. We simply stand on the platform of devotional service and preach the same principles all over the world. Text 66. Translation: In the house of Advaita Acharya, all the Vaishnavas took pleasure in always talking of Krishna, always worshipping Krishna, and always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But on these principles only does the Krishna consciousness movement go on. We have no business other than to talk of Krishna, worship Krishna, and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Text 67 translation. But Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu felt pained to see all the people without Krishna consciousness simply merging in the material sense enjoyment. But a bona fide devotee of Lord Krishna is always pained to see the fallen condition of the whole world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura used to say, there is no scarcity of anything within this world. The only scarcity is of Krishna consciousness. That is the vision of all pure devotees. Because of this lack of Krishna consciousness in human society, people are suffering terribly, being merged in an ocean of need, science, and sense gratification. A devotee onlooker is very much aggrieved to see such a situation in the world. Text 68 translation. Seeing the condition of the world, he began to think seriously of how all these people could be delivered from the clutches of Maya. Text 69 translation. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu taught if Krishna himself appears in order to distribute the cult of devotional service, then only will liberation be possible for all people. Just as a condemned person can be relieved by a special favor of the chief executive head, the president or king, so the condemned people of this Kali Yuga can be delivered only by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself or a person especially empowered for this purpose. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu desired that the Supreme Personality of Godhead advent himself to deliver the fallen souls of this age. Translation. Text 70. Translation. With this consideration, Advaita Acharya Prabhu promising to cause Lord Krishna to descend, began to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna with tulsi leaves and water of the Ganges. Purport: Tulsi leaves and Ganges water with, if possible, a little pulp of sandalwood is sufficient paraphernalia to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 9.26, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati taraham bhaktya parahitam ashnami prayatatmana. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Following this principle, Advaita Prabhu pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead with tulsi leaves and water of the Ganges. Light 71. Caitanya Charitamrta, Adi Lila, chapter 13, text 71. Translation. By loud cries, he invited Krishna to appear, and this repeated invitation attracted Lord Krishna to descend. Text 72. Before the birth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 8 daughters took birth, one after another, from the womb of Mother Satimata, the wife of Jagannath Mishra. But just after their birth, they all died. 72. Jagannath Mishra was very unhappy at the death of his children, one after another. Therefore, desiring a son, he worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Text 74. After this, Jagannath Mishra got a son of the name Vishwarup, who was most powerful and highly qualified because he was an incarnation of Baladev. Purport: Vishwarup was the elder brother of Gaurahari, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the arrangements were being made for the marriage of Vishwarup, he took sannyas and left home. He took the sannyas name of Shankararanya. In 1431 Shatabdi era, AD 1509, he disappeared in Pandharpur in the district of Sholapur. As an incarnation of Sankarshan, he is both the ingredients and immediate cause of the creation of this material world. He is not different from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for the Amshi
Amsa and the Amshi are the whole part and the whole are non-different. As an incarnation of Sankarshan, Vishwarup belongs to the quadruple manifestation of Chaturvyuha. In the Gaura Chandrodaya, it is said that Vishwarup, after his so-called demise, remained mixed within Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Text 75. The expansion of Baladev, known as Sankarshan in the spiritual world, is the ingredient and immediate cause of this material cosmic manifestation. 76. The gigantic universal form is called the Vishwarup incarnation of Mahasankarshan. Thus, we do not find anything within this cosmic manifestation except the Lord Himself. Text 77. As the threads in a cotton spread both lengthwise and breadthwise, so the Supreme Personality of Godhead exists directly and indirectly within everything we see in this cosmic manifestation. This is not very wonderful for him. Purport. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.15.35. Text 78. Translation. Because Mahasankarshan is the ingredient and efficient cause of the cosmic manifestation, he is present in every detail of it. Lord Chaitanya therefore called him his elder brothers. The two brothers are known as Krishna and Balaram in the spiritual world, but at the present moment they are Chaitanya and Nitai. Therefore, the conclusion is that Nityananda Prabhu is the original Sankarshan, Baladev. Text 79. The husband and wife, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, having gotten Vishwarup as their son, were very pleased within their minds. Because of their pleasure, they specifically began to serve the lotus feet of Govinda. Purport. There is a common saying in India that everyone goes to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he is in distress. But when a person is in an opulent position, he forgets God. In Bhagavad Gita 7.16, it is confirmed. Chaturvida bhajante mam, jana sukritino arjuna. Artho jigyasu artharthi, jnani cha bharatarshava. If backed up by pious activities in the past, four kinds of men, namely those who are distressed, those in need of money, those searching after knowledge, and those who are inquisitive, become interested in devotional service. The husband and wives, such as Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, were very unhappy because their 8 daughters had passed away. Now, when they got Vishwarup as their son, suddenly they became extremely happy. They knew that it is by the grace of the Lord that they were endowed with such happiness and opulence. Therefore, instead of forgetting the Lord, they became more and more adherent in rendering service to the lotus feet of Govinda. When a common man becomes opulent, he forgets God. But the more opulent a devotee becomes by the grace of the Lord, the more he becomes attached to the service of the Lord. Text 80. In the month of January, in the year 1406 of the Shaka era, AD 1485, Lord Krishna entered the bodies of both Jagannath Mishra and Sachi. Purport. Lord Chaitanya took his birth in the year 1407 Shaka era, AD 1486, in the month of Falgun. But here we see that he entered the bodies of his parents in the year 1406 in the month of Magh. Therefore, the Lord entered the bodies of his parents 13 full months before his birth. Generally, a common child remains within the womb of his mother for 10 lunar months. But here we see that the Lord remained within the body of his mother for 13 months. Text 81. Jagannath Mishra said to Sachi, I see wonderful things. Your body is effulgent, and it appears as if the goddess of fortune were now staying personally in my home. 82. Anywhere and everywhere I go, all people offer me respect. Even without my asking, they voluntarily give me riches, clothing, and paddy. Purport. A Brahmana does not become anyone's servant. To render service to someone else is the business of the Shudras. A Brahmana is always independent because he is a teacher, spiritual master, and advisor to society. The members of society provide him with all the necessities of life. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says he has divided society into four divisions: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. A society cannot run smoothly without this scientific division. A Brahmana should give good advice to all the members of society. A Kshatriya should look after the administration, maintaining law and order in society. Vaishya should produce and trade to meet all the needs of society, whereas the Shudras should render service to the higher sections of society, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. Jagannath Mishra was a Brahmin. Therefore, people would send him all bodily necessities: money, cloth, grain, and so on. While Lord Chaitanya was in the womb of Sachi Mata, Jagannath Mishra received all the necessities of life without asking for them. Because of the presence of the Lord in his family, everyone offered him respect as a Brahmana. In other words, if a Brahmana or Vaishnava sticks to his position as an eternal servant of the Lord and executes the will of the Lord, there is no question of scarcity for his personal maintenance or the needs of his family. Text 83. Sachimata told her husband, I see wonderfully brilliant human beings appearing in outer space as if offering prayers. Purport. Jagannath Mishra was honored by everyone on earth and was supplied with all necessities. Similarly, Mother Sachi saw many demigods in outer space offering prayers to her because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's presence in her womb. 84. Jagannath Mishra then replied, in a dream, I saw the effulgent abode of the Lord enter my heart. 85. From my heart, it entered your heart. I therefore understand that the great personality will soon take birth. 86. After this conversation, both husband and wife were very jubilant, and together they rendered service to the house called Shalagram Shila. Purport. Especially in every Brahmana's house, there must be a Shalagram Shila to be worshipped by the Brahmin family. The system is still current. People who are Brahmanas by caste, who are born in a Brahmin family, must worship the Shalagram Shila. Unfortunately, with the progress of Kali Yuga, the so-called Brahmanas, although very proud of taking birth in Brahmin families, no longer worship Shalagram Shila. But actually, it has been a custom since time immemorial that a person born in a Brahmin family must worship the Shalagram Shila in all circumstances. In our Krishna consciousness society, some of the members are very anxious to introduce worship of the Shalagram Shila. But we have purposely refrained from introducing it because most of the members of the Krishna consciousness movement do not originally come from the families of the Brahmin caste. After some time, when we find that they are actually situated strictly in the line of Brahminical behavior, Shalagram Shila worship will be introduced. In this age, the worship of Shalagram Shila is not as important as the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. That is the injunction of the Shastra. Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Gatir Anyatha. Srila Jiva Goswami's opinion is that by chanting the holy name offenselessly, one becomes completely perfect. Nonetheless, just to purify the situation of the mind, worship of the deity in the temple is also necessary. Therefore, when one is advanced in spiritual consciousness and is perfectly situated on a spiritual platform, he may take to the worship of the Shalagram Shila. The reference of the Lord from the heart of Jagannath Mishra to the heart of Sachimata is explained by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as follows. It is to be concluded that Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata are Nitya Siddhas, ever pure associates of the Lord. Their hearts are always uncontaminated, and therefore they never forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A common man in this material world has a contaminated heart. He must therefore first purify his heart to come to the transcendental position. But Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata were not a common man and woman with contaminated hearts. When the heart is uncontaminated, it is said to be in the existential position of Vasudev. Vasudev can beget Vasudev or Krishna who is transcendently situated. It is to be understood that Sachi Devi did not become pregnant as an ordinary woman becomes pregnant because of sense indulgence. One should not think that the pregnancy of Sachi Mata to be that of an ordinary woman, because that is an offense. One can understand the pregnancy of Sachi Mata when one is actually advanced in spiritual consciousness and fully engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10 to 16, it is stated, Bhagavan abhi Vishwatma, Bhaktanam, Abhyankara, Avishvarsamsha Bhagena, Mana Anakardun Dubi. This is a statement regarding the birth of Lord Krishna. The incarnation of the Lord entered the mind of Vasudeva and was then transferred to the mind of Devaki. Srila Sridhar Swami gives the following annotation in this connection. Mana Avishesha Manasi Avir Bhuva Jivanam Ivana Dhatu Sambandha Ihi Arthaha. There was no question of the seminal discharge necessary for the birth of an ordinary human being. Srila Rupa Goswami also comments in this connection that Lord Krishna first appeared in the mind of the Anda Dundubi Vasudeva and then transferred to the mind of Devaki Devi. Thus, the spiritual bliss of the mind of Devaki Devi gradually increased just as the moon increases every night until it becomes a full moon. At the time of his appearance, Lord Krishna came out of the mind of Devaki and appeared within the prison house of Kamsa by the side of Devaki's bed. At that time, by the spell of Yogamaya, Devaki thought that her child had now been born. In this connection, even the demigods from the celestial kingdoms were also bewildered. As it is stated, Mukhyanti Yas Suraya, Bhagavatam 1.1.1. They came to offer their prayers to Devaki, thinking that the Supreme Lord was within her womb. The demigods came to Mathura from their celestial kingdom. This indicates that Mathura is more important than the celestial kingdom of the upper planetary systems. Lord Krishna, as the eternal son of Yashodamai, was always present in Vrindavan. The pastime of Lord Krishna are continually going on within both the material world and the spiritual world. In such pastimes, the Lord always thinks himself the eternal son of Mother Yashoda and Father Nanda Maharaj. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 6, verse 43, it is stated, when magnanimous, broad-hearted Nanda Maharaj came home from a tour, he immediately took his son Krishna on his lap and experienced transcendental bliss by smiling his head. Similarly, in the 10th canto, 9th chapter, verse 21, it is said, this personality of Godhead, appearing as the son of a cowherd damsel, is easily available and understandable to devotees, whereas those who are under the concept of bodily life, even though they are very much advanced in austerity and penance, or even though their great philosophers are unable to understand him. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur next quotes Sripad Baladev Vidya Bhushan, who refers to the prayers offered by the demigods to Lord Krishna in the womb of Devaki, and summarizes the birth of Krishna as follows. As the rising moon manifests lights in the east, so Devaki, who was always situated on the transcendental platform, having been initiated in the Krishna mantra by Vasudev, the son of Surasena, kept Krishna within her heart. From this statement of Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.18, it is understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, having been transferred from the heart of Anakadundubi or Vasudev, manifested himself in the heart of Devaki. According to Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushan, the heart of Devaki means the womb of Devaki, because in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.41, the demigods say, Dishyam Bete Kukshi Gata Parah Puman. Mother Devaki, the Lord is already within your womb. Therefore, that the Lord was transferred from the heart of Vasudev to the heart of Devaki means that he was transferred to the womb of Devaki. Similarly, in regard to the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as described in the Caitanya Charitamrta, the words Vishesha Shevena Kare Govinda Charan, they specifically began to worship the lotus feet of Govinda, indicate that exactly as Krishna appeared in the heart of Devaki through the heart of Vasudev, so Lord Chaitanya appeared in the heart of Sachi Devi through the heart of Jagannath Mishra. This is the mystery of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Consequently, one should not think of Lord Chaitanya's appearance as that of a common man or living entity. This subject matter is a little difficult to understand, but for devotees of the Lord, it will not at all be difficult to realize the statements given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Text 87. In this way, the pregnancy approached its 13th month, but still there was no sign of the delivery of the child. Thus, Jagannath Mishra became greatly apprehensive. 88. Nilambar Chakravarti, the grandfather of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then did an astrological calculation and said that in that very month, taking advantage of an auspicious moment, the child will take birth. 89. Thus, in the year 1407 of the Shaka era, AD 1486, in the month of Falgun, February, March, in the evening of full moon day, the desired auspicious moment arrived. Purport. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Amrita Pravaha Bhasya has presented the horoscope of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as follows. Shakha 1407, 10, 22, 28, 45 Dinam. The explanation of the horoscope given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur is that the time of birth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the planets are situated as follows. Shukra, Venus was in Mesha Rashi, Aries, and Nakshatra lunar mansion of Ashwini. Ketu, the ninth planet, was in Simha Rashi, Leo, and Uttar Falguni. Chandra, the moon, was in Purva Falguni, the 11th lunar mansion. Shani was in Vriksha Rashi, Scorpio, and Jeshta. Brihaspati, Jupiter, was in Dhanu Rashi, Sagittarius, and Purva Sadha, Mangala, Mars, was in Makara Rashi, Scorpion, and Shravana. Ravi, the sun, was in Kumbha Rashi, Aquarius, and Purva Bhadrapada. Rahu was in Purva Bhadrapada, and Buddha, Mercury, was in Meena Rashi, Pisces, and Uttara Bhadra. The Lagna was Simha. Text 19. According to Jyotirveda or Vedic astrology, the auspicious moment is described as follows. The moon was in Leo, the figure of the lion in the zodiac. Leo was the ascent. Several planets were strongly positioned, and the Sattvic Varga and Ashtavarga showed all auspicious influences. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was previously a great astrologer, explains this verse as follows. The Shatvarga, 6 divisions, are technically called Kshetra, Hora, Trikana, Navamsa, Dvadashamsha, and Trishamsha. According to Jyotir Vedic astrology, when the relationship between the planets and the rulers of these 6 divisions are determined, the auspiciousness of the moment of birth can be calculated. In the book named Brihaj Jataka and other books, there are directions for interpreting the movements of the stars and planets. One who knows the process of calculating the Ashtavarga, 8 divisions, can predict auspicious and inauspicious events. This science is known especially by persons who are called Hora Shastravid, or those who know the astrological scriptures. On the strength of astrological calculations from the Hora scriptures, Nilambar Chakravarti, the grandfather of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, had ascertained the auspicious moment when the Lord would appear. Text 91. When the spotless moon of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became visible, what would be the need of a moon full of black marks on its body? 92. Considering this, Rahu, the black planet, covered the full moon, and immediately vibrations of Krishna, Krishna, Hari inundated the 3 worlds. Report. According to Jyotirveda, a lunar eclipse takes place when Rahu planet comes in front of the full moon. It is customary in India that all the followers of the Vedic scriptures bathe in the Ganges or the sea as soon as there is a lunar or solar eclipse. All strict followers of the Vedic religion stand up in the water throughout the whole period of the eclipse and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. At the time of birth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such a lunar eclipse took place, and naturally, all the people standing in the water were chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All the people thus chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra during the lunar eclipse, and their minds were struck with wonder. 94. When the whole world was thus chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in the form of Gaura Hari, advented himself on the earth. 95. The whole world was pleased. When the Hindus chanted the holy name of the Lord, the non-Hindus, especially the Muslims, jokingly imitated the words. Purport. All the Muslims or non-Hindus have no interest in chanting the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The Muslims in Navadvip imitated the Hindus as they chanted during the lunar eclipse. Thus, the Hindus and Muslims joined together in chanting the holy name of the Lord when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advented himself. 96. While all the ladies vibrated the holy name of Hari on earth, in earthly planets, dancing and music were going on, for the demigods were very curious. 97. In this atmosphere, all the 10 directions became jubilant, as did the waves of the rivers. Moreover, all beings, moving and non-moving, were overwhelmed with transcendental bliss. 98. By his causeless mercy, the full moon, Gaurahari, rose in the district of Nadia, which is compared to Udayagiri, where the sun first became visible. His rising in the sky dissipated the darkness of sinful life, and thus the 3 worlds became joyful and chanted the holy name of the Lord. 99. At that time, Sri Advaita Acarya Prabhu, in his own house at Shantipur, was dancing in a pleasing mood. Taking Haridas Thakur with him, he danced and loudly chanted Hare Krishna. But why were they dancing? No one could understand. Purport. It is understood that Advaita Prabhu at this time was in his own parental house at Shantipur. Haridas Thakur frequently used to meet him. Coincidentally, therefore, he was also there, and upon the birth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, both of them immediately began to dance. But no one in Shantipur could understand why those two saintly persons were dancing. Text 100. Seeing the lunar eclipse and laughing, Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur immediately went to the bank of the Ganges and bathed in the river in great jubilation. Taking advantage of the occasion of the lunar eclipse, Advaita Acharya, by his mental strength, distributed various types of charity to the Brahmanas. Purport. It is the custom of Hindus to give in charity to the poor as much as possible during the time of lunar or solar eclipse. Advaita Acharya, therefore, taking advantage of this eclipse, distributed many varieties of charity to the Brahmanas. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a statement that when Krishna took his birth, Vasudeva immediately took advantage of this moment and distributed 10,000 cows to the Brahmanas. It is customary among Hindus that at the time a child is born, especially a male child, the parents distribute great charity in jubilation. Advaita Acharya was actually interested in distributing charity because of Lord Chaitanya's birth at the time of the lunar eclipse. People could not understand, however, why Advaita Acharya was giving such a great variety of things in charity. He did so not because of the lunar eclipse, but because of the Lord's taking birth at that moment. He distributed charity exactly as Vasudev did at the time of Lord Krishna's appearance. Text 101. When he saw that the whole world was jubilant, Haridas Thakur's mind, his mind was astonished. Directly and indirectly expressed himself to Advaita Acharya. Your dancing and distributing charity are very pleasing to me. I can understand that there is some special purpose in these actions. 102. Acharya Ratna, Chandrasekhar, and Srivas Thakur were overwhelmed with joy, and immediately they went to the bank of the Ganges to bathe in her waters. Their minds full of happiness, they chanted the Hare Krishna mantra and gave charity by mental strength. 103. In this way, all the devotees, wherever they were situated, in every city, every country, danced, performed Sankirtan, and gave charity by mental strength on the plea of the lunar eclipse. Their minds were overwhelmed with joy. 104. All sorts of respectable brahmanas, gentlemen, and ladies carrying plates filled with various gifts came with their presentations. Seeing the newborn, whose form resembled natural glaring gold, all of them happily offered their blessings. 105. Dressing themselves as the wives of Brahmanas, all the celestial ladies, including the wives of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Nrsimhadev, King Indra, Vasishtha Rishi, along with Ramba, a dancing girl of heaven, came there with varieties of gifts. Purport. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a newborn baby, he was visited by the neighboring ladies, most of whom were wives of respectable Brahmanas. And the dress of Brahmanas' wives, celestial ladies like the wives of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva also came to see the newborn child. Ordinary people saw them as respectable Brahmana ladies of the neighborhood, but actually they were all celestial ladies dressed in that way. 106. In outer space, all the demigods, including the inhabitants of Gandharva Loka, Siddha Loka, and Charana Loka, offered their prayers and danced to the accompaniment of music, songs, and the beating of drums. Similarly, in Navadvip city, all the professional dancers, musicians, and blessers gathered together, dancing in great jubilation. Purport. As there are professional singers, dancers, and reciters of prayers in the heavenly planets, so in India, still there are professional dancers, blessers, and singers, all of whom assemble together during householder ceremonies, especially marriages and birth ceremonies. These professional men earn their livelihood by taking charity on such occasions from the homes of the Hindus. Eunuchs also take advantage of such ceremonies to receive charity. That is their means of livelihood. Such men never become servants or engage themselves in agriculture or business occupations. They simply take charity from neighborhood friends to maintain themselves peacefully. The Bhattas, as a class of Brahmanas, who go to such ceremonies to offer blessings by composing poems with reference to the Vedic scriptures. 107. No one could understand who was coming and who was going, who was dancing and who was singing, nor could they understand one another's language. Yet, all unhappiness and lamentation were immediately dissipated, and people became all jubilant. Thus, Jagannath Mishra was also overwhelmed with joy. 108. Chandrasekhar Acharya and Srivas Thakur both came to Jagannath Mishra and drew his attention in various ways. They performed the ritualistic ceremonies described at at the time of birth according to religious principles. Jagannath Mishra also gave varieties of charity. 109. Whatever riches Jagannath Mishra collected in the form of gifts and presentations, and whatever he had in his house, he distributed among the Brahmanas, professional singers, dancers, putters, and the poor. He honored them by giving them riches in charity. 110. The wife of Srivas Thakur, whose name was Malini, accompanied by the wife of Chandrasekhar, Acharya Ratna, and other ladies, came there in great happiness to worship the baby with paraphernalia such as vermilion, turmeric, oil, fused rice, bananas, and coconuts. Purport: vermilion, khai, fused rice, bananas, coconuts, and turmeric mixed with oil are all auspicious gifts for such a ceremony. As there is puffed rice, so there is other preparation of rice called khai or fused rice, which along with bananas is taken as a very auspicious presentation. Also, turmeric mixed with oil and vermilion makes an auspicious ointment that is smeared over the body of a newborn baby or a person who is going to marry. These are the auspicious activities in family affairs. We see that 500 years ago, at the birth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all these ceremonies were performed rigidly. But at present, such ritualistic performances hardly ever take place. Generally, a pregnant mother is sent to the hospital, and as soon as her child is born, he is washed with an antiseptic, and this concludes everything.
Text 111. One day, shortly after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, Advaita Acharya's wife, Sita Devi, who is worshipable by the whole world, took her husband's permission and went to see the topmost child with all kinds of gifts and presentations. Purport. It appears that Advaita Acharya had two different houses, one at Santipura and one at Navadip. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, Advaita Acharya was residing not at his Navadip house, but at his Santipura house. Therefore, as formally explained, text 99, from Advaita's old paternal house, Nijalaya in Shantipura, Sita came to Navadip to present gifts to the newborn child, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 112. She brought different kinds of golden ornaments, including armlets, necklaces, anklets, and bangles for the hands. Text 113. There were also tiger nails set in gold, waist decorations of silk and lace, ornaments for the hands and legs, nicely printed silken saris, and a child's garment. And also made of silk. Many other riches, including gold and silver coins, were also presented to the child. Purport. From the gifts presented by Sita Thakurini, Advaita Acharya's wife, it appears that Advaita Acharya was at that time a very rich man. Although Brahmanas are not the rich men of society, Advaita Acharya, being the leader of the Brahmanas in Shantipura, was considerably well to do. Therefore, he presented many ornaments to the baby, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Kamalakanta Vishwasha's asking for 300 rupees from the king of Jagannath Puri, Maharaj Prataparudra, on the plea that Advaita Acharya was in debt for that amount, indicates that such a rich man who could present many valuable ornaments, saris, etc., thought it difficult to repay 300 rupees. Therefore, the value of a rupee at that time was many thousands of times what it is now. At present, no one feels difficulty over a debt of 300 rupees, nor can an ordinary man accumulate such valuable ornaments to present to a friend's son. Probably the value of 300 rupees at the time was equal to the present value of 30,000 rupees. Text 114. Riding in the palanquin, covered with cloth and accompanied by maid servants, Sita Thakurini came to the house of Jagannath Mishra, bringing with her many auspicious articles such as fresh grass, paddy, gorochana, turmeric, kunkuma, and sandalwood. All these presentations filled a large basket. Purport. The words Vastragupta Dwala are very significant in this verse. Even 50 or 60 years ago in Calcutta, all respectable ladies would go to a neighboring place riding on a palanquin carried by 4 men. The palanquin was covered with soft cotton, and in that way, there was no chance of seeing a respectable lady traveling in public. Ladies, especially those coming from respectable families, could not be seen by ordinary men. This system is still current in remote places. The Sanskrit word Asurya Pashya indicates that a respectable lady could not be seen even by the sun. In the Oriental culture, this system was very prevalent and was strictly observed by respectable ladies, both Hindu and Muslim. We have actually experienced in our childhood that our mother would not walk even next door to observe an invitation. Rather, she would go in either carriage or a palanquin carried by 4 men. This custom was also strictly followed 500 years ago, and the wife of Advaita Acharya, being a very respectable lady, observed the customary rules current in that social environment. Text 115. When Sita Thakurini came to the house of Sachidevi, bringing with her many kinds of eatables, dresses, and other gifts, she was astonished to see the newborn child, for she appreciated that except for a difference in color, the child was directly Krishna of Gokula himself. Purport. A pitari is a kind of big basket, is carried in pairs on the ends of a rod balanced over the shoulders. The man who carries such load is called a bari. This system of carrying luggage and packages is still current in India and other Oriental countries. And we have seen that same system is still current even in Jakarta, Indonesia. Text 116. Seeing the transcendental bodily effulgence of the child, each of his nicely constructed limbs full of auspicious signs and resembling a form of gold, Sita Thakurini was very pleased, and because of her maternal affection, she felt as if her heart were melting. Text 117. She blessed the newborn child by placing fresh grass and paddy on his head and saying, "May you be blessed with a long duration of life." But being afraid of ghosts and witches, she gave the child the name Nimai. Purport: Dakini and Sankini are two companions of Lord Shiva and his wife, who are supposed to be extremely inauspicious, having been born of ghostly life. It is believed that such inauspicious living creatures cannot go near a Nima tree. At least, medically, it is accepted that Nima wood is extremely antiseptic, and formerly it was customary to have Nima tree in front of one's house. On very large roads in India, especially in Uttar Pradesh, there are hundreds and thousands of Nima trees. Nima wood is so antiseptic that the Ayurvedic science uses it to cure leprosy. Medical scientists have extracted the active principle of the Nima tree, which is called margosic acid. Nima is used for many purposes, especially to brush the teeth. In Indian villages, 90% of people use Nima twigs for this purpose. Because of all the antiseptic effects of Nima tree, and because Lord Chaitanya was born beneath the Nima tree, Sita Thakurini gave the Lord the name Nimai. Later, in his youth, he was celebrated as Nimai Pandita, and in the neighborhood villages, he was called by that name, although his real name was Vishwambara. Text 118. On the day the mother and son bathed and left the maternity womb, Sita Thakurini gave them all kinds of ornaments and garments, and then also honored Jagannath Mishra. Then Sita Thakurini, being honored by Mother Sachidevi and Jagannath Mishra, was greatly happy within her mind, and thus she returned home. Purport: On the fifth day of the of on the fifth day from the birth of a child, as also on the ninth day, the mother bathes either in the Ganges or in another sacred place. This is called Nishkramana, or the ceremony of coming out of the maternity womb. Nowadays, the maternity womb is a hospital, but formerly, in every respectable house, one room was set aside as a maternity womb where children would take birth. And on the ninth day after the birth of a child, the mother would come into the regular rooms in the ceremony called Nishkramana. Of the 10 purificatory processes, Nishkramana is one. Formerly, especially in Bengal, the higher caste observed 4 months after the birth of child as a quarantine. At the end of the fourth month, the mother could see the sun rise. Later, the higher caste, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, observed only 21 days as a quarantine, whereas the Sudras had to observe 30 days. For the sections of society known as Karta Bhaja and Satima, the mother of the child was immediately purified after the quarantine by the throwing of Arinuta, small pieces of sweet meat, in Sankirtana. Sachidevi and Jagannath Mishra, with the newborn child, were honored by Sita Thakurini. Similarly, while Sita Thakurini was returning home, she was also honored by Sachidevi and Jagannath Mishra. That was the system in respectable families of Bengal. Text 119. In this way, Mother Sachidevi and Jagannath Mishra, having obtained a son, who was the husband of the goddess of fortune, had all their desires fulfilled. Their house was always filled with riches and grains. As they saw the beloved body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, day after day, their pleasure increased. Purport: Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, everyone offered respects to him. Even the denizens of heaven used to come in the dress of ordinary men to offer their respect to the Lord. His father and mother, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi, seeing the honor of the transcendental Son, also became very pleased within their hearts. Text 120. Jagannath Mishra was an ideal Vaishnava. He was peaceful, restrained, in sense gratification, pure and controlled. Therefore, he had no desire to enjoy material opulence. Whatever money came, because of the influence of his transcendental Son, he gave it in charity to the Brahmanas for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Text 121. After calculating the birth moment of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nilambara Chakravarti privately said to Jagannath Mishra that he saw all the different symptoms of a great personality in both the body and birth moment of the child. Thus, he understood that in the future this child would deliver all the three worlds. Text 122. In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his costless mercy, made his advent in the house of Sachidevi. Lord Chaitanya is very merciful to anyone who hears this narration of his birth, and thus such a person attains the lotus feet of the Lord. Text 123. Anyone who attains a human body but does not take to the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is baffled in his opportunity. Amrta Dhuni is a flowing river of the nectar of devotional service. If after getting a human body, one drinks the water in a poison pit of material happiness instead of the water of such a river, it would be better for him not to have lived, but to have died long ago. Purport. In this connection, Srimad Prabodhananda Saraswati has composed the following verses in his Caitanya Chandramrta 37, 36, 34. Achitanyam idam vishwam yadi chaitanyam ishwaram na vidu sarva shastragya ye api Brahmayanti te janaha. This material world is without Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna consciousness personified. Therefore, if a very learned scholar or scientist does not understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, certainly he is wandering uselessly in this world. प्रशारित महाप्रेमा पीयूष रस सागरे चैतन्य चंद्रे प्रकटे योदिनो दीन एव शः. A person who does not take advantage of the nectar of devotional service overflowing during the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult, certainly the poorest of the poor. अवतीर्णे गौरचंद्रे विस्तीर्णे प्रेम सागरे सुप्रकाशिता रत्नाभे योदिनो दीन एव शः. The advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is just like an expanding ocean of nectar. One who does not collect the valuable jewels within this ocean is certainly the poorest of the poor. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.19, 20, 23 states, स्वविद वरावस्त्र करैः संस्तुत पुरुष पशुः नयत् कर्ण पथोपेतो जातु नाम गताग्रजः बीले पोथोरुक्रम विक्रमान्ये न शृण्वत कर्णापुते नरस्य जीवाशाथी दादुर्केव शूथ न चोपो गायति उरुगाय गताः जीवांशवो भागवतांग्रि रेणुं न जातु मर्त्यो बिलापेतयस्तु श्रीविष्णुपादाय मञ्जुस्तुलस्याः Swasanchavo yastu na vedagantam. A person who has no connection with Krishna consciousness may be a very great personality in so-called human society, but actually is no better than a great animal. Such big animals are generally praised by other animals like dogs, ox, camels, and ashes. A person who does not lend his oral reception to hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered to have ear holes like holes in a field. Although that person has a tongue, it is like the tongue of a frog, which unnecessarily creates a disturbance by croaking, inviting the snake of death. Similarly, a person who neither takes advantage of the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, nor smells the tulasi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, must be considered dead, even though he is supposedly working. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.4 states, Nivartatarshairubageyamanat भवाशौदाचोत्रमनोभिरामात् क उत्तमश्लोकगुणानुवादात् पुमान् व्रजेत विना पशुघ्नात्. Who but the animal killer or the killer of the soul will not care to hear glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Such glorification is enjoyed by persons liberated from the contamination of this material world. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam 3.23.56 says, Natirtha Pada Sevayai Jivan Apimruto Ishaha. Although a person is apparently living, if he does not serve the lotus feet of great devotees, he is to be considered a dead body. Text 124. Taking on my head as my own property the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Acarya Advaita Chantra, Swarup Damodara, Rupa Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami, I, Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami, have thus described the advent of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Advaita Prabhu, Swarup Damodara, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das, and their followers are all accepted by Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami. Anyone who follows in the footsteps of Kaviraj Goswami also accepts the lotus feet of the above mentioned lords as his personal property. For a materialistic person, material wealth and opulence are only illusory. Actually, there are not possessions but entanglements, because by enjoying the material world, a conditioned soul becomes more and more entangled by incurring debts for his present enjoyment. Unfortunately, a conditioned soul considers property for which he is in debt to be his own, and he is very busy acquiring such property. But a devotee considers such property not real property, but simply an entanglement in the material world. If Lord Krishna is very pleased with a devotee, he takes away his material property. As he states in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.88.8, Yashagam anugrahanami arishye taddanam shanaihi. To show special favor to a devotee, I take away all his material property. Similarly, Narottama Das Thakur says, Dhanamora Nityananda, Radha Krishna, Sri Charana, Sei Mora Pranadhana. My real riches are Nityananda Prabhu and the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Krishna. He further prays, O Lord, kindly give me this opulence. I do not want anything but your lotus feet as my property. Srila Narottama Das Thakur has sung in many places that his real property is the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Unfortunately, we are interested in unreal property and are neglecting our real property. Adane yatana kari dana teyaginu. Sometimes Smartas consider Raghunath Das Goswami a Sudra, but Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami here especially mentions Swarupa, Rupa, Raghunatha Dasa. Therefore, one who considers the lotus feet of Raghunath Das to be transcendental to all divisions of the caste system enjoys the riches of actual spiritual bliss. Thus, in the Bhakti Vedanta purports to Sri Caitanya Charitamrta Adi Lila, 13th chapter, describing the advent of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chapter 14, Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur has given a summary of this chapter in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. In the 14th chapter, there is a description of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed his childhood pastimes, crawling, crying, eating dirt, and giving intelligence to his mother, favoring a Brahmana guest, riding on the shoulders of two thieves, and misleading them to his own house, and on the plea of being deceased, taking prasadam in the house of Hiranya and Jagadesha on the Yagadasi day. The chapter further describes how he displayed himself as a naughty boy. How, when his mother fainted, he brought a coconut to her on his head. How he joked with girls of the same age on the banks of the Ganges. How he accepted worshipable paraphernalia from Srimati Lakshmi Devi. How he sat down in a garbage pit and instructed his mother in transcendental knowledge. How he left the pit on the order of his mother, and how he dealt with his father with full affection. Text 1. Translation. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. Purport. In his book, Chaitanya Chandramrita, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati says, one who receives a little favor from the Lord becomes so exalted that he does not care even for liberation, which is sought after by many great scholars and philosophers. Similarly, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya considers residence in the heavenly planets a will-o'-the-wisp. He surpasses the perfection of mystic yoga power because for him the senses are like snakes with broken fangs. A snake is a very fearful and dangerous animal because of his poison fangs. But if these fangs are broken, the appearance of a snake is no cause for fear. The yoga principles are meant to control the senses, but there is no scope for the senses of one engaged in the service of the Lord to be dangerous like snakes. These are the gifts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Aribhakti Vilasa confirms that difficult things become easy to understand if one remembers Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and easy things become very difficult to understand if one forgets him. We actually see that even those who are very great scientists in the eyes of the general public cannot understand the very simple idea that life comes from life because they do not have the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They defend the false understanding that life comes from matter. Although they cannot prove that this is a fact, modern civilization, therefore, progressing on the basis of this false scientific theory is simply creating problems to be solved by the so-called scientist. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to describe the pastimes of his appearance as a child because one cannot write such transcendental literature by mental speculation. One who writes about the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be especially favored by the Lord. Simply by academic qualifications, it is not possible to write such literature. Text 2. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Text 3. I have thus described in brief the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared as the son of Mother Sachi, exactly as Krishna appeared as the son of Mother Yasodha. Purport. Srila Narottama Das Thakur confirms this statement that now Lord Krishna, the son of Mother Yasodha, has appeared again as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, becoming the son of Mother Sachi. Vrajendra Nandana Hai, Sachishuta, Haila Shai, Balarama, Haila Nitai. The son of Sachi is none other than the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. And Nityananda Prabhu is the same Balaram. Text 4. I have already briefly spoken about the pastimes of his birth in chronological order. Now I shall give a synopsis of his childhood pastimes. Text 5. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the childhood pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Krishna himself. Although such pastimes appear exactly like those of an ordinary child, they should not be understood as various pastimes of they should be understood as various pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.11, this statement is confirmed as follows. Avajananti Mahamudha Manushim Tanum Ashritam Param Bhavam Ajananto Mama Bhuta Mageshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. To execute his pastimes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears on this planet or within this universe like an ordinary human being or human child. Yet, he maintains his superiority as the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna appeared as a human child, but his uncommon activities, even in his childhood, like the killing of the demon Putana or the lifting of Govardhana hill, were not the engagements of an ordinary child. Similarly, although the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, as they will be described in this chapter, appear like the activities of a small boy, they are uncommon pastimes, impossible for an ordinary human child to execute. Text 6. In his first childhood pastimes, the Lord turned upside down while lying on his bed, and thus he showed his parents the marks of his lotus feet. Purport. The word Uttana is also used to mean lying down on the bed face upwards or lying down flat on the bed. In some readings, the word is Uttana, which means standing up. In his childhood pastimes, the Lord tried to catch the wall and stand up, but as an ordinary child falls down, so the Lord also fell down and again took to lying on his bed. Text 7. When the Lord tried to walk, in his small footprints, the specific marks of Lord Vishnu were visible, namely the flag, thunderbolt, conch shell, disc, and fish. Text 8. Seeing all these marks, neither his father nor his mother could understand whose footprints they were. Thus, struck with wonder, they could not understand how those marks could be possible in their home. Text 9. Jagannath Mishra said, certainly, child Krishna is with the Shalagram Sheila. Taking his childhood form, he is playing within the room. Purport. When the form of the Lord is carved from wood, stone, or any other element,